WoW Classic has a big problem with bots. I'm actually wondering how it is with Season of Mastery. Let's find out.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, WillE here. So we have had a good few months since Season of Mastery has kicked off and the players have had the time to
Yeah, it's
experience
quite
leveling
hyped.
and gradually getting onto endgame. So is Season of Mastery doing any better or any worse than Classic was
I
for
think it's the
around this
same.
point in time in
Maybe.
terms of real money trading, gold farming and botting? Well, yes, it's overall being the key word, doing better. Very controversial thing to say because you
What?
better believe that they still exist. In fact, we've a fair amount of footage to look over here, but many of the changes that Blizzard made prior to the season launching have impacted them to a large degree. And there will always be some degree of automation going on whatever they do. That's simply the case with every single online game I've ever seen. Not to excuse poor management of the game or them existing, but oh man, it was not just
Do you know what the issue is with bots? Like why they exist in the first place? Because there are no GMs present. Like if you make a freaking ticket, you get no reply for weeks, maybe even months. Like there's nothing happening when you report them. Like nobody's actually controlling this and checking in. Like if people end up getting, let's say, banned, and like a lot of people that use bots get banned, then it will like spread. The word will spread and nobody will make bots anymore because they are scared that their account could be locked for like a month or longer, right? So if people actually get punished for botting, the problem wouldn't exist because people would be too afraid to do that.
worse in Classic, it was way worse than this, and players felt the effect of it to a much greater degree as well.
Holy
In
shit,
fact, just
those
for
are
the
all
sake of
bots?
comparison, I went back to look at some of the old videos that I recorded early on in Classic when
Yo,
bots
you
were
need some
starting to
freaking
really
hot
ramp up,
friends to
and the
come over and
difference
kill
is
them or
frankly
something.
huge. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is with Classic, botters had the entire duration of the game to get everything working on their end as well as possible. So when Season of Mastery rolled around, they
Yo, we need
already
our
had all
own
that tech
police.
in place, so they should have been able to just fire it off. Even still, it has been mitigated quite a bit, which is good to see. At this point in time, during Classic, you would have been lucky to see a Black Lotus for under 200 gold. In Season of Mastery, for me at least, they're around 50 gold. I don't imagine that price is going to fluctuate too much across the big servers. With
Interesting
more
price.
spawns of the top herbs in the high level zones on top of Black Lotus dropping from them, as the herbing system works in TBC, and Black Lotus
Like they're
can
messing up
actually
the
drop from Black
market, the
Lotus
bots.
themselves. This has caused the price to come down massively, both in and out of game. In April 2020, 10 Black Lotus would have set you back over $100. Nowadays, it's
Holy
much
shit.
less than that. Or
That's good.
so I've heard. You know what else we have going for us at the moment? Well, at the moment at least, no transfers. In terms of battling, gold, selling and buying, not having the ability to quickly hop between low population and high population is...
You know what we could also do? Like we could start our own sort of police. Like if we make like horde characters, for example, can't we just like freaking snipe those bots and just kill them? But then again, if they're on a PvE server, they're pretty safe. So I don't know. But on PvP servers, you can just like literally kill those bots. Like you just make a horde character, level it up, come over and you kill them all. I don't think they have any brain to use freaking skills and rotations and combos and stuff. Like you just freaking stun them and just nuke them one by one. Maybe we should start doing that more.
extremely beneficial. Players back in Classic would load upon materials or just herb endlessly on low population servers via automation, pay out the $25 transfer fee to a bigger server with a bigger market, and then offload via real money trading or through the auction house. Again, looking back to April 2020, organized farmers used to plant, quite literally, level 1 warrior scouts on Lotus spawn locations on the low population
What?
servers, so that as soon as one of them ever popped up, they could have a herber run over there in absolutely no time at all.
Are
And
you
Blizzard
kidding
did
me?
actually address this during Classic, making it so
Holy shit, look at that. And they all have like the same name almost, just like one letter. OMG. Those are all bots?
did actually address this during Classic, making it so
Only
easy
one
for
player
level
was
to see them whilst
like
being
level
dead,
16.
but instead people just started to level
What?
hunters, spamming their eagle eye macros on each spawn to work out their locations instead. So it was only really a very short-term fix. On top of that, we had multi-boxes of 1 druid, 1 priest, 3 mages. Who remembers those who were sitting in strat undead all day, every day, to the point where righteous odds were getting towards vendor price. This was also similar in Sunken Temple, where they were just chain farming the place for leatherworking as well as the drops that you could get in there. This was something that was not addressed for absolutely ages until Blizzard straight up banned multi-boxing, which was something that targeted automation on both the retail version.
This is just like we saw. You guys remember how we were like streaming and I was leveling my gnome warlock, and there was like one dude that kept running permanently to a fence, and then we knew like, oh, this is a freaking bot, and I wanted to like report him. Like, do you guys remember that? Those that have watched like my older live streams, that was insane. There was a dude like that, he got stuck in a freaking fence.
Automation on both the retail version of the game as well as classic by making the software solutions against the rules, and then eventually they also made hardware solutions against the rules. You can still multi-box if you're tabbing between characters, but anything that multiplies what you're doing will get you banned. We had the rogue bots, pickpocketing, and black.
Can you actually pull mobs to them with like AoE skills to bug them out?
Seasonal Mastery now. I don't know why this hasn't been ported over to TBC as well. I'd assume they exist there to some extent still, or maybe there are just more lucrative farms that they can go after. Either way, no other instance with that volume of high-level humanoid mobs comes to mind where they could easily run around and do a pickpocketing loop. On top of that, loot has been adjusted in Zul'Farrak to stop farming in there, bots in there, as well as just people gold farming in there as general, from it being a bit too good for it being instanced. So overall, yeah, it's definitely a number of improvements. I agree it's a shame that it's taken this long. I too would like to have a game with absolutely zero bots, zero automation, but no online competitive.
But they're not GMs, so you can't do anything, right?
Of this kind of activity. Aimbots, wall hacks, auto interrupters, gear swapping scripts, or buying or selling gold for real life money. It's part and parcel of humans' nature to fervently optimize anything as much as they possibly can, and people will continue to care little enough to get the wallet out so they can play the game that little.
You know, it's funny, this reminds me also of a situation here. So they're like those two players working together, and they're both bots, right? Like, I saw them when I saw like my WoW Classic experience, and also when I got like into TBC, I saw they walk quite often around. I thought they were like mobs farming for like leveling or something, and then I realized you can't even whisper them or anything. They would just not reply you, and it's like, yeah, like I realized something is wrong. If they're like two friends like leveling, why you can't talk to them? And then I also realized, oh, those were bots too. But maybe actually some GMs have also issues with like, that's something that I'm thinking, like, yeah, we don't have many GMs, but if there are any GMs, maybe some of them have issues finding out if someone is a bot or not. But it's actually easy to find out, I think, because if they have like a certain behavior and they walk back and forth and you observe them for a while, you realize this can't be a real person, right? That's something that I came to realize when I followed two like them as well, and I tried to whisper them. I actually asked them if they want to group up for a quest, and you couldn't whisper them in all. I'm like, what's happening here? And they kept walking the same routes, so I realized, oh, those are bots. And that guy that got stuck in a fence, I've also experienced that, so you have to like observe them for longer. Maybe the GMs, like, there are really few. Sadly, they should like get more GMs, and they maybe don't have time to actually observe them or something. But there are also some maybe tools you can actually use to scan if somebody else is using certain add-ons or tools. Like, maybe it's actually possible with some software to detect that if it's a bot or not.
Optimize anything.
Pretty sure there are some ways to find out quickly.
Continue to care little enough to get the wallet out so they can play the game that little bit less. I expect it to some degree, but a relatively moderate one where you can see
why is he stealthing?
Put in to stay on top of it and to
what
maintain
kind of bot is that? That's even slower. You just walk like
the changes made have been passive ones, which in time may be worked around, and Blizzard and gaming companies do this a lot, by the way. It is considerably cheaper and it's better than nothing. Also, you can now report players via the /who function. This is a new-ish feature.
Wait, the bots can fight? Wait, hold on. Can bots actually fight mobs? I thought they can't. It's just light attacking, right?
Passive ones, which in time may be worked around, and Blizzard and gaming companies do this a lot, by the way. It is considerably cheaper.
No, this person is spending resources on skills.
Also, you can have report
so bots can fight too?
Function.
What?
This is a new-ish feature in Classic. Before that, you had to whisper somebody and then report them after. This gives players a better ability to report should somebody not be directly in front of them. In terms of recognizing bots, they're very similar to how they've always been. They often use click to move, so they're going to make very sharp turns, little to no strafing or turning. They're going to be absolutely decked out and bind on equipped gear. They are not playing the game and questing like you are. They're grinding in obscure locations. Try a /who of Veriless or Ashara and see what you can find.
Your bots have evolved. I remember old school bots couldn't use skills, just light attack at most.
To make them look that little bit more believable. The majority of the bots I've seen so far on Seasonal Mastery have been rogues or hunters.
That's even worse than Elder Scrolls Online bots.
Time, at least, don't appear.
Because there they cannot fight, and there were also issues.
Are being set up for Diamond tribute runs or just standard mob farming. As for rogues, I'm not entirely sure really. There are just better
on retail we have no bots
farming. Because
Or
with
at
a
least
thief
I don't
debuff
know
in
of any.
BRD, they aren't going to be doing
Maybe
that
there are
anymore.
some, but I
Mages
just
aren't
never
going to be
saw
able to
them.
do Marat or Strat anymore. The mobs gain eventual immunities to roots and slows and then gain additional movement speed, so that is not going to be happening. And I've heard that the change made to being able to loot items from the chest was made based on a design flaw of clearly the intention wasn't that you should be able to give them out to other players because the items in the chest themselves are soulbound. Josh from Countdown did an interview with Brian Birmingham, team lead on Classic, not so long ago.
So that's
I'll
how
link
they're
it below if you
countering the
fancy a
botting,
listen
right?
in. And there's 2 points I wanted to mention that he went over on it because they do go quite into detail on how botting looks from Blizzard's end. Brian also talks about the fact that players see somebody who is botting, they report them, and then weeks or months later they see that same name crop up again and again. And he says that's because when a player is banned, the name is released and the botters go back onto it and make another character with the same name. So in one of the clips I'm showing here, there is an absolute infestation of bots in Strangle.
Wait, so it takes really that long? So yeah, they just make a new... Like, you need to block the whole account, actually. That's a time-consuming process. So imagine like you see a bot all over again with the same name, and you freaking like always report them, and then like it's kind of like being gathered, and then the more and more you have on that person, then eventually their account gets like suspended or banned for several months. But this is so time-consuming. That means you can't immediately do something about the bots. Like you have to wait for so long.
Make another character with the same name. So in one of the clips I'm showing here, there is an absolute infestation of bots in Stranglethorn Vale. This was quite early.
But why are they in stealth? They are so slow.
All of these players, and I did receive 4 confirmation mails saying they have been banned. So let's go through all of their names and see if A, they are available for me to take, or B, if I can see them online at the moment. And we'll go through all these in the background now, but the short of it is I went through all of them and none of the names were available and none of them were online either. Also, they mentioned that a 3-day ban for buying gold may be considered too low. I don't know if this has already been extended, but it would be good to have a bit more than a slap on the wrist for doing something like this. Buyers are a problem just as much as sellers. So overall, I'd say there is less botting and it is less...
Because that's the issue. As long as there are people buying this and getting like the offers from the bots and buying that, the more bots are there because there's a demand, right? And where there's a demand, of course, there will be people that want to breach into that, right? So there are like people making more and more bots. So yeah. But if you know someone is a bot and you buy from them, I think that's wrong from your side. Like, yeah, maybe you see an offer and it sounds reasonable, but you're supporting it in a way, so you shouldn't buy that. Like, look for real players that grind for it and then buy it from there, not from bots. Because the more you support the bots financially, the more bots there will be. And this will ruin the gaming experience. Because then you make like a new character and you want to go somewhere and actually quest, and you have those bots constantly run around and just kill stuff or like loot stuff, and it's just... it's not a good experience.
There are just less people playing than Classic and less people raiding on top of that, so less demand for consumables. Consumables are easier to acquire, so the burden of farming gold has been diminished. We have more gold farms available for players from day one. Players also seem more casual by and large, with less hardcore attitudes to progression. As a result, gold sellers are less frequent and there just is not as much in demand. I don't think you're going to see anything too unreasonable until GDKP start appearing and somebody starts dropping 20k on an Onslaught Girdle or a Bone Reaver's Edge. To me, they will always be the end game of real money trading. And yes, everybody interacts with RMT to a degree due to the nature of how gold is traded, but you don't go to buy a stack of Dreamfoil from the auction house and some swiper decides to bid you up to 50 gold for the stack. Prices on the auction house are mediated by people who actually earn their own gold and understand the value and time that went into earning it. Also, it involves every single player on the server, not the handful of bidders for whatever item it may be.
What's also like sad about like the botting and when it comes to like market prices, like usually businesses are run like that. If you look at the supermarkets, for example, like here in Germany, we have different supermarket brands, like different names. And they all have like similar or identical prices, even if the product is by a different company. Because usually if you are someone that sells stuff and you have like, let's say, the lead in the market, you kind of like set the price, right? But when it comes to like bots, you can't really communicate with them and say, hey, you know what, we're gonna sell this one stack for, let's say, 20 gold, and this is the market price. Like the bots, they will go away from the market price. They will make it like much cheaper. For example, like let's say you have something and it's like 20 gold, for example, maybe the bots will offer it for like 5 or 10 gold suddenly, and you can like communicate with them and set like the price. If there's like a new something new like Season of Mastery, and the bots start like immediately getting into action, you can actually make a real market price, because they're just gonna underbid you constantly, right?
Dependent on RNG drops.
Like they're gonna offer it
There
so
we
much
go.
cheaper
Boxes,
than
real money
what
trading,
you offer it
gold
for,
buying, gold selling,
and you
far
farm
from
for
gone.
hours.
But I mean, come on, real money trading on a seasonal server? You have to be kidding me. It's not as bad as it was, but definitely still exists. Let me know if you've seen anything too
But it's
bad
good to
in
know
your
that it's not
experience
as
and how
bad
things
as
are
in
going on
WoW
your
Classic,
server.
so it's
And
a
as
bit
always,
better.
thank you so much for watching and listening in, and I shall see you on the next one very soon.
Thank you so much, WillE, for making this video. It's interesting to see how it is actually in Season of Mastery versus WoW Classic and WoW Classic TBC. Because there I was actually quite annoyed. Like, each time I was like leveling a character, and I made multiple ones, like I would always run across those strange people that run forth and back the same route. You can't whisper them, and sometimes they get like stuck in objects. Like this guy that got stuck at the fence, and we tried to like report him and stuff. Like, this is so annoying. Because sometimes they're also ruining your questing experience. Because I've noticed something, and now that I think about it, this was a bot too, and there was someone that was killing like NPCs that I needed for a quest, like certain monsters, and he kept killing them all over again, and my questing took even longer because all that stuff was dead when I arrived, right? So that's also what happened there. It's good to know that this is what was back then. And yeah, very interesting. If you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content, and let me know in the comment section what you are thinking about the bots. Have you made any bot experience so far in Season of Mastery or in any other version of WoW, be it Retail or WoW TBC Classic? Let me know about your experiences in the comment section, and I'd really appreciate if you like this video. This will help out with the YouTube algorithm, and I wish everyone a wonderful day. I will see you guys next time.